we have four elements that we are talking about when speaking about what we can do beyond implementing the Integrity Pacts to increase our capacity, ours as managing authorities, contracting authorities, civil society, but also as a larger community for the collective action of in the implementation of Integrity Pacts, to actually implement Integrity Pacts and make them the most of them. The first element that I want to talk about is formal recognition of the Integrity Pact in the policy framework or the legislation. And here we have some things to take into account. In many of the countries in Central and Eastern Europe, for example, the administrative practice, the public administration, it's pretty much legalistic. It's working according to the law, and when the law is missing, then the use of good practices and other standards that are not in the law, it's not so easy to do. So introducing Integrity Pacts in the legislation, it's from this perspective, at least in the eastern part of Europe, one of the things that we think may help in the implementation of the Integrity Pacts, but we have in this case some challenges and risks to be aware of. Other actions are boards, committees, or organizations for collective action. So any kind of formal or non-formal, informal organizations, in order to work for the capacity to implement Integrity Pacts, and also identify projects that are suitable for Integrity Pacts and that would benefit most from Integrity Pacts. The third thing that I want to mention, and I will speak about how it may work, it's using some mechanisms for the accreditation of civil society monitors in order to have a pool of civil society monitors that can work for their capacity to implement Integrity Pacts, can be verified not only by contracting authorities ad hoc for each Integrity Pact, but overall, and so on. And the fourth and the last element that I want to mention, although important and maybe easier to do than all the other three, it's having an IP data management system that will provide information even without implementing an IP for contracting authorities, for businesses, in order to increase the level of integrity and the level of trust that public procurement and public investments will be implemented as planned. Regarding the part of recognition of Integrity Pacts in legislation or the policy framework, as I said, I think it is important to have in mind that this is an instrument that may be extremely useful for some countries, but it has some limitations and risks that we need to be aware of. What recognition in legislation or the policy framework entails, it's at least four things. And if one of these four things is missing, then we have higher risks that things will not go according to the plan in implementing Integrity Pacts or increasing the capacity to implement Integrity Pacts. The first is mentioning Integrity Pacts for public contracting in laws or other types of regulations. And here it is important to mention the core features of the Integrity Pact, the minimum requirements for them, as we presented, Antonio and I in the last days, I will not go into details. The idea is we don't have an exact recipe, and we don't have an exact recipe for integrity pacts for what should be in a law. But it's important to have some key features, and I would mention here, for example, that integrity pacts are mentioned in some legal provisions, that they are mentioned in legal provisions in Italy, for example, but without mentioning the civil society monitor. And this leads to having integrity pacts signed between contracting authorities and the suppliers that are pledged to play by the rules, but they don't have the civil society monitor attached to them as in the blueprint of the integrity pact. And to be fair, we think actually at Transparency International, where we designed the integrity pact, that without the civil society monitor, the civic monitoring, the integrity pacts are not what they should be. So although they are called integrity pacts, they are not actually integrity pacts. Moreover, including integrity pacts in the legal framework allows for sanctions and incentives to be included in the law and then applied in the integrity pacts implementation with more confidence, with less negotiations. So elements of carrots and sticks related to integrity pacts can work better if the integrity pacts are in public in the legal framework. Then the other thing, besides just defining the integrity pacts, are related to establishing when integrity pacts will be applied. But I will stop because I see Antonio has a raised hand, and I think he will complement me.
Irina, just also a specification in the case of Italy that, of course, like I think I mentioned this already yesterday, that even though the Integrity Pact at the moment in the law does not recognize the civil society monitor, it was nevertheless, it helped a lot during the Integrity Pact pilot, because of course it was already in the law. In a couple of minutes, I will send in the chat for the Italian participants, I will send the Integrity Pact and the monitoring agreement signed by the organizations, because it was all in Italian language, so that they can also see how the two things work. Just wanted to make this clarification.
Thank you. No, it's true. It helps. Yes, please, Marco.
Another point I wanted to add as well, Irina, on this point of recognition. I think it would be important, of course, I think at one stage, if the European Court of Auditors, Olaf, and other, as we mentioned, Antonio, other European institutions at some stage mention or refer to integrity pacts as a tool for transparency and so forth. I have requested a contact in the European Court of Auditors, but so far they said that nobody in the European Court of Auditors knows or has spoken about Integrity Pact. So that's, I think, of course, it's a weakness if the Court of Auditors or other institutions don't mention, if it's only the European Commission. But yes, I think some mentioned somewhere also by other institutions, the Ombudsman or other institutions could be very useful, of course, as well.
Totally agree with you. I think there are two different elements, both of them very useful. The first is the legal recognition. The second is the institutional and, let's say, social recognition besides that. And I think I'm now on the slide with the legal recognition. I will anticipate a bit the next slide that is related to collective action initiatives for the implementation of integrity pacts that are going beyond each of the integrity pacts that can integrate not only civil society and businesses, but also institutions. And here, oversight institutions that you mentioned, I think, are extremely important because they will give to any selection of projects for integrity pacts, for example, information about what they see as being red flags or things that generates risks for investments to be monitored and included, or the objective of an integrity pact. They may be separated, and I think this is good, the legal recognition from the institutional recognition. I may say that at least in Romania, we have the support of the Court of Accounts, for example, recognizing that integrity pacts can work as a preventive mechanism for what they may then control in order for them not to have to work with irregularities. So I think this is very good. Great. If there are any questions in the chat, please let me know as well. Going back to the legal recognition, besides defining the integrity pact, what it's important to have in the law is to clarify if integrity pacts are mandatory anytime, when, or if they are voluntary all the time. I think this can work as well. If integrity pacts are to be made mandatory, we are pretty far from that. But if they are to be made mandatory, clear criteria for when they should apply should be designed and included in the legal framework. And including integrity pacts in the legal framework, I think, links to allocations of funds, how integrity pacts should be funded, may be also included in the legal provisions or the policy framework. Here, it's not necessarily to have a legal document, but a policy document like a plan, a strategy, and so on. But I think this it's also solving part of our discussions related to the independence of the civil society monitor vis-a-vis to its funding. If we have legal provisions on how the civil society monitor it's financed in the legal framework or the policy framework. And the last thing that we don't have yet, but maybe a good element to manage the risks related to putting integrity pacts in the law. And I will say putting integrity pacts in the law, it's having or borning the risk that integrity pacts will become another box to check, rather than something that it's strong and flexible enough. In order to not have just another box to check, a public body or a body that it's appointed to provide technical support, to monitor what is happening, to solve some issues when they appear in the implementation of the Integrity Pact, may be a good solution. And we think that the policy framework should include not only legal provisions, but also an institutional provision on a body. This is different from the institutional recognition that we spoke before, but this is where I think it links to that element. And the second thing, besides the law, and I think this can work everywhere, and we can start them very soon. We can start them from today or tomorrow. It's platforms of collaboration for Integrity Pact. integrity pacts for the initiation, preparation, and I think also it's not in the title, but we can say also for raising the capacity for the implementation of integrity pacts. It means collective action initiatives with representatives from the government, civil society, businesses, academia as well. And when I say government, it may be from the procurement agencies, from the agencies or institutions in charge with the anti-corruption policy, from the center of the governments, from the prime ministers, but also oversight authority like the courts of account, the ombudsman, that can participate and should or would be great to participate in this this fora of discussions in order to discuss the application of integrity pacts, where they should be implemented, sources of funding to find more, rather than in the legal framework where we have a general rule in an ad hoc way, but in an ad hoc way that it's decided together by collective action, how integrity pacts should be implemented, where funded, where they should be implemented, what are the projects that would need and benefit the most from the implementation of integrity pacts, what are the strategic or risky investments, and also they can such fora can recommend specific objectives or activities for the integrity pacts related to this ad hoc identification of projects. So if putting integrity pacts in the law means establishing general rules, working with the collective action initiative in such a collective action fora would mean more an ad hoc approach, but that it's adapted to the needs of each project, and also definitely identifying the civil society monitor or monitors that have the capacity and are in the position to implement the integrity pacts that are recommended. If the legal framework comes by definition with transparency and good governance elements, if such a collective action collaboration it's implemented, because it's more ad hoc, measures for good governance need to be in place. It means that this means that all the proceedings of this collaboration need to be transparent, published, sent to all the members of the fora or all the participants to the meetings, but also published online for the greater public. Appointment of people in this fora should be open and transparent, in some cases with open calls for representatives, but in other cases at least with a clear publication of the criteria for selecting the person to be part of these discussions, and a background of the person, so that we the civil society in general can check them, and definitely with some regulations on the ethics of how this fora will work, rules to prevent conflict of interests or other kind of works, including rules to prevent businesses, for example, for being involved in applying or in promoting integrity pacts or not promoting integrity pacts where they have interest. So all this should be in place. I don't think this is difficult to do. It's just a short list of things to keep in mind when starting such a collaboration, a collective action collaboration between government, civil society, businesses, and other actors. Good. Then we have mechanisms for accreditation for civil society monitors, and I think this is one of the subjects that we can dive in a lot more, not only today but also in the next trainings. It's how civil society monitors can be selected and how to raise not only the capacity of monitoring authorities that are interested in having projects that they are funding monitored, not only of contracting authorities, but also the capacity of civil society organizations to implement integrity pacts. We are not very few, but we are also not too many civil society organizations in Europe that have already the experience of implementing integrity pacts. I think the willingness for the implementation of integrity pacts is higher in the civil society than the current capacity of civil society organizations. So we are planning and we are working to this end as well. A mechanism for accreditation, it's something that can work in incentivizing civil society organizations that are generally struggling with finding resources to raise their capacity for new things, to raise the capacity to participate in integrity pacts. This means an institutional mechanism with clear procedures with an institution designated to assess and then accreditate organizations and or technical experts. I would say both of them would be great. So organizations that are raising their capacity, accumulating experience, and then through their own procedures and organizational life can transfer this capacity to even new people that are working with them, but also technical experts that will learn what integrity pacts mean, that integrity pacts and being a technical expert in an integrity pact, it's very much different from being a technical expert that is providing consultancy. There's a level of refraining from providing consultancy, but also a level of focus on integrity and public interest that needs to be in place for technical experts. And this kind of institutional and procedure mechanism, it's helping. This will go with capacity building programs and resources for monitors. The capacity building programs and resources may be definitely designed separated from an accreditation system, and we don't need an accreditation system to have them. We already have them. This is without doubt, but they work better with the incentive of the accreditation in order to get the civil society organizations that are not already included in this this discussion about integrity pact to learn more about integrity pact. National coalitions of civil society organizations and technical experts interested and exchanging experiences from different projects that they monitored would add definitely a new level and a new layer of elements to be learned for the capacity of monitors. And this can also help in creating not only a discussion about public funding or funding related to the investment funding for the civic monitor, but also a sort of civic monitoring fund. So seeing if not from the public budget or the European budget, but from the private budget, we can have access to funds. Again, this fourth element of the accreditation mechanism seems to be farther away than the others. But on the other hand, I think if we are stepping on the other steps for providing capacity, providing incentives to accreditation to the civic monitors, then we can also look into other source of funding besides the public funding for civic monitoring. This doesn't mean the civic monitoring will not need funds from the public budget, but as we already discussed, its independence, it's related to its funding, and as diversified the funding, as more trust we can build in the independence of the monitors.